came across an article this morning on critical thinking and always thinking about day to day with work, what critical thinking means. You always hear this word, critical thinking, and what does that actually even mean? The definition of critical thinking itself refers to the ability to analyze information objectively and make a reasoned judgment, basically evaluating sources such as data, facts, observable phenomena, and research findings. Sounds super fancy that way, but essentially someone with critical thinking skills can be trusted to make decisions independently and will not need constant hand-holding, right? David was saying, tap into this now about, where does that start from, right? I want to be a critical thinker.
Yeah. I mean, I think it starts at the core. You're working for a company or you're a coach at a team or anything. You're going to have to make decisions eventually. Mm-hmm. And if you can't trust yourself, I don't know how you can make decisions and start making more important decisions as time goes. I think it starts at the core of who you are. If you want to be in a role where you make these critical decisions and you start thinking more critically and analyzing things a little more deeper and making the calls more often, you really have to improve yourself as a person and continue to improve yourself.
You can't want to do better and think less. The only reason people grow and are able to accomplish more, make more, we all come to work obviously for various reasons, but most people want to do better and grow every year, but they want to think less and be told what to do more. There's a difference between just telling like an assembly line worker that's like, pick this up and put it there and mark this and move this over here. It doesn't require any thinking, which is why it doesn't require a lot of money to pay.
Yeah.
And I think you have to, have somebody to trust you to make those decisions, but also trust yourself first, like you were saying, and be confident enough to do it. Because everybody's afraid to make a mistake or just afraid to think for themselves.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, it comes from internally, and once you have a routine and change maybe your routine, it takes a week or 2 or 3 to get into a habit of a different mindset and start getting better. You'll see different doors potentially open, and people are so used to the annual review, a couple % raise, and keep it going. But if you bring extra value, extreme value to the team, to yourself, those meetings, the reviews can be a lot, sooner than you think. Mm-hmm. They can be a lot better when they happen. And there could be more put on your plate. And typically in a right work environment, if there's going to be more and more put on your plate, you have the potential to earn more as well, and challenge yourself more. When you go into work every single day and you're not challenged, that's not fun either. I think you have to figure out who you are. What do you want? And as an employer, you have to also recognize who can do it, mm-hmm. and who you want to invest time into doing it. Not every human being at your company is going to be critically thinking.
Right. Yeah. Some of the traits or qualities of like a critical thinker was communication, analysis, open-mindedness. And with those things, I think even with, you always hate to, bring up the pandemic or COVID or whatever, where people, a lot of people didn't think for themselves. They just kind of, did what other people were doing or heard something and they did it. And it's just a million examples out there. But at the end of the day, regardless of what is normal, not normal, what you think is right or not, you should be analyzing, have that open mind, step outside of your normal train of thought and really just try to think about something differently, ask questions, be skeptical, right? There's a lot of different traits that come along with being a critical thinker. I think one of the biggest ones is being open-minded to just think about something differently or think a little bit deeper than just that basic surface level, ask questions, and just not get stuck in, this is what I do, I'm going to keep doing it that way, never going to use my brain, right? Yeah. You start using your brain more, you start making more.
I think so, and you have to trust yourself. I mean, you have to trust your call. People ask, and I talk to different people, I don't think twice about my call. I don't. Like, when I make the decision of doing something, I don't go back and ponder and wonder. Like, I'm trained mentally to make the call and move forward. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because it came up in a coaching situation with my son's basketball team, very non-real, one practice a week, one game a week. But there's kids and there's always moving parts, and I love that environment when everything is moving around. And then you're subbing kids in and out, and parents might get upset if their kid doesn't play. And often you have to take all of that out, and their opinions on what you're doing don't matter. If you trust yourself and you're doing it the way it needs to be done, and you stop looking at the peanut gallery around you, wondering what they're going to think about your action and your move, you're going to open that up really quickly, I think. If you second guess yourself and you doubt yourself and you keep just going back and thinking about the decision you made at night, for hours and wondering, could I have done it differently? It's nothing wrong to analyze your decision, but to question it and doubt it continuously, you will not be able to grow, I think, and accomplish the critical thinking level that you need to be at to then also add value to yourself and to the company. You cannot question yourself. I think that's a big part of critical thinking.
I think thinking even deeper, because I'm just thinking, how can we be a critical thinker? And it even starts when you wake up in the morning and how focused you are when you're even at work. You can't think critically if your mind is in 17 different spots and you're not focused whatsoever. Like, you got to be focused to even be able to be open-minded or even be able to analyze data. Because if you're anxious or depressed or tired or hungry or whatever the case is, usually it's not going to result in the best possible outcome. You can't make important decisions when you're super distracted.
You can't. And as an employer, when you're looking at a team, you're breaking down the best team possible. You want them coming with you with data and information, not questions all the time. People keep coming with you with questions. It's more of a distraction, I think. Definitely be open-minded to answer questions. But at some point, they need to be telling you what's going to be done, and they're going to run the meeting. And hopefully we'll get more into that kind of world this year and next year where, the team is kind of running the meeting, more than myself just talking and going over things. We departmentalize a lot of different things in this company with systems and assembly line systems. And if people keep only coming to you with questions, then you have to just really figure out what kind of people you have in there. And work on improving them and making them better people if they're able to become better. Not everyone is able to do critical thinking, in my opinion.
Sure.
Or some people can take a lot longer to learn this skill versus others. So you have to ask yourself, how much time do you want to invest in those people? How much time do they want to invest in themselves? You don't want to just invest in everybody when they don't want to invest in themselves either.
Right.
You don't want to waste your time. But you want to have a team where they can come at you with value and solutions, or even better, when there's a problem, they come at you with a problem, but these are my two solutions, I think. A lot of times somebody will come at you with an email like, hey, this is wrong, what should I do? Or something that happened. How often does somebody come to you, if you're watching this and you're an employer, and they say, this is wrong, and these are the three solutions I think, out of the three, I think this one's the best one. Your mind will be blown. I can guarantee you that. So if you're watching this and you're an employer and that scenario happens, ask yourself, how often do problems come to your table with multiple solutions and then people picking the best one?
And if you're an employee, ask yourself how many times you're on the other side of that, offering the solution or just asking, what do I do? And if you don't know what to do, you don't know your job well enough. Like, know what you're doing day to day, educate yourself, and continue to learn what you're doing. Because half of the problems about what do I do in this scenario, it's literally because you just don't understand what you're doing and how that fits into the bigger picture of the company
and how you can make your process even better. You get your annual review. The goal is not to get a raise to cover inflation. It's a very basic type of raise, in my opinion. But if you have your annual review and you come there with substance and you've done these three things better, you've improved the process of these three things to save this much time, to open up more doors. If more gets put on your plate, it doesn't technically mean you have to work more. You're just working smarter. You might have broken down some tasks to save half time in doing them. It doesn't mean you have to work 60 hours a week now instead of 50 or 40. It just means you've worked smarter and you've created different ways of finishing the job in a more effective way. And when you come to the table with that kind of substance, I guarantee you your reviews will not be to cover inflation. And if they still are, then you need to look at a different company to work for.
Yeah, I like it. I think a lot of people, everybody out there can always learn from any type of critical thinking books or articles. There's so much information out there that one of those things that a lot of employers look for and employees will thrive on is just being able to think for themselves.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, guys. Later.